Shout out to the after show, but later, Daniel Javier Fitz and El Cucuy. It's an after show based on our show, but they get into their own thing. It's like the hood rat version of CNR.
Pretty much right after we're done, I have to head out to San Diego.
I just got off work, yo.
Yeah, dog, and I've had a headache for like 3 hours. But anyway, here we go. A lot of where do you want to get started, dog? I have a lot of I always have a lot of so let's see what's up.
I do too. But I want to let's play a game real quick.
All right.
Time me. I'm gonna down 2 beers and watch how the show ends up.
All right.
Get some feedback from the fans. Should I not down beers before the show? Should I down beers before the show? Do I sound like an idiot when I do it? Am I funnier? Give us some feedback.
All right.
Get your timer started?
Yeah. Right now, yeah.
I'm just curious. I like to down beer, so I don't even know how long. I'm not trying to set a record. Not trying to compete with nobody. If you want to tell me your record, cool. I'll try to beat it next time. But the first time, we're just going to get some data, see what happens. Tell me when to go.
All right. You know what, dog? Let's fucking next time then. I'll make sure I have a couple of beers, so we'll have a contest. Let's go.
Yeah,
I'll count you down. 3, 2, 1. Gunka, 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 gunka. Oh, both of them. Gunka, 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 like a boss. Relax the jaw, open the throat.
Good.
There you go. Damn, what was that? Doug, that was like less than like 30 seconds for both of them.
All right. Sorry for the burp. My bad.
Well, here we are. Where do you want to get started before you get a little too buzzed?
That was my burp Kreischer.
Your burp Kreischer. There you go.
Well, I want to go in on some Rich Davis, and I don't even know where I want to start. I got to look at some notes, but he was on a good one today. I mean, not today. I'm sorry, this week. Mm-hmm. He was on a good one. And the icing on the cake is when I heard him on the podcast with Nicole, and he was saying that she was making him dumb because she asked if Mario was Luigi's cousin. And then they're like, oh, it's Mario Brothers. And then he said that she was making him dumb.
Oh, you know what? Like, Doug,
what's that?
Okay, I was waiting for the answer because I was like, wait, is it his cousin? Because I thought they were like either homies or cousins or some. Because
Mario Brothers,
yeah,
is the name of the game.
Yeah, what I mean, now it makes sense when you say it like that.
I mean, I don't know. And then
so their last name's Mario?
No,
they're both named Mario.
I don't know.
Because think about it. If they're the Mario brothers, wouldn't it be like Jacob Mario and said Mario if they're the Mario brothers? Because when he says it's a me a Mario, is he being like it's a me and then his last name? Because when he says it's a me a Mario, that sounds like that's his first name. But if they're the Mario brothers, it has to be the last name, unless they're both named Mario, but we know the brother's name is Luigi.
Well, how do you know it's not Mario, and Luigi Mario?
It could be. I don't know. That's the thing.
So my point is, it's just Rich saying someone else is dumbing him down when he's trying to convince America that everyone gets up, it goes to bed at midnight.
Yeah, I had so much feedback. People hit me up personally.
That's the stupidest I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. Well, dog, I mean, think about it. This week, and I'm gonna bag on all three of them right now, because this week they had to fill in for Dan Patrick. So at one point, Covino said I might take a nap later, right? Because they started at 8:00, and they could say, "Oh, that doesn't mean you get up at 8:00." Yeah, no, most of us work at 7 or 8:00, so we know you got.
I need about an hour. If I'm working at 8. I'm probably getting up about 6:30, 6:45. Depending on where I work. Depending on how far I am from work.
Yeah. Well, for me, I get up probably about 6. And I go in at 8.
With your drive, what you told me you had earlier today, I would probably get up at 6 too. Because I need about an hour to drop a deuce and check check my phone, look at Sports Center and TMZ.
So Covino said he needed a nap or would probably go to bed early. Spot on, I think, today's show on Friday, he was like, oh yeah, I'm going to have to catch up on sleep this weekend or whatever, right? And then, I don't know what Rich was saying, but I'm like, Doug, that's from just a few days of doing these, being up at 8:00. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's funny. It happened after he fucking started running off at the mouth, questioning people's sleep, habits or whatnot, and then they got to do what he was saying, and everyone's tired.
Because
I mean,
Doug,
he almost proved our point. You know what I'm saying?
well, because he kept saying that. I mean, Spot and Covino are making our point right now that hey, you're if you're getting up early, you're gonna be right. Like
Right.
Covino saying, I need to either take a nap or go to bed early.
Well, let me correct it though. You're only going to be tired if you don't get your amount of sleep.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
I get up at 4 a.m. I start laying down at 8. I'm not tired. Do I look tired to you right now? No, I don't need a damn nap.
Yeah. And so Rich was saying that all of these people, the 90% of the feedback, were the outliers. I'm like, does Rich not know what the word outlier means?
And does he not know what 90% is?
He is the outlier, right? He is the one that is not the majority. The majority would not be the outliers, right? So he was so convinced, and then threw a little BS.
He threw a tantrum.
Yeah, he threw a tantrum.
He grew a grown man boy midlife tantrum.
And then they had Spot told him, "Hey, go take a walk," and he did.
I know when your buddy has to tell you to take a walk, you're acting like a.
And he did. And the funny thing is, he came back happier. He came back in a better mood.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. So I like to get my sleep because I don't want to feel like that. And if I take a nap, it's going to go to sleep at night because then I can't fall asleep at my normal time. So I'm better off just to tough it out that day and make sure I get good sleep the next night. But one thing that he doesn't understand either is while he's sleeping in, playing with his balls in his sleep, half of us are already out making money.
Yeah.
Right. And I worked in a grocery store. And in that grocery store, there was a week that I worked all 24 hours on the clock. And it was not uncommon to get 1 week of 4 p.m. to 1 in the mornings. And the next week you're working 6 a.m. to 3 in the afternoon. And so there's only about 20% of that grocery store, maybe 30% that actually works 9 to 5. All right. All the bakery people start coming in at 3 a.m. The produce people, they come in at 4 or 5. The meat people, they come in at 4 or 5 as well. And the seafood counter, they come in maybe at 6. The morning checker got to be there at 6. So the manager's got to be there at 6 or 7. So I don't know what world he lives in with the factory worker. You can't say most people work 9 to 5.
I don't know, and I'm telling you 100% honest, I don't know one person that works from 9 to 5. Everybody I know works from 8 or beyond or earlier.
Right.
And they're there till 5 or 6,
Unless you work at the bank. But even the bank, you would think they got to prep. Someone has to be there to prep before the door. They don't just open the doors with nothing ready.
No. What time was at the bank this morning?
Because, bro, I worked in a grocery store, and you got to have those tills ready and counted. Like, you don't just open the bank as soon as the clock you show up and you're ready for business. There has to be some type of prep.
Yeah, I think the bank opened at 9 today because I drove up. Yeah, I drove up at 8:40 going, not open yet? And I was like, damn it. So then I ended up going like a few hours later because I had to go do some other. But, dog, when that 9 o'clock, when I pulled into the parking lot at 8:40, there was people standing outside waiting by the door and people in their cars waiting for the open. Do you think at 9 o'clock when this hits, people are going to be walking into work? Probably schedule them for at least 8:15, 8:30 maybe to come and get everything set up, count all their bank, right? They're probably there 8 o'clock or earlier. So to say 9 to 5, I feel like that's such an outdated reference when he wants to talk about outdated nobody watches TV anymore or whatever, he always has some dumb shit. I don't understand how
I was just going to say that.
That 95.
You stole my point.
So what we do.
I mean, because think about it, right? Everything else in his life revolves around technology. That's 2000 or whatever he's on these days from home, right?
Yeah.
Everything he does from home. But he wants to act like late night shows and late night this and late night. Like in this part of his life, he's stuck in a late night type of deal because the world has changed. I mean, people don't do the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't. You got to hit update. He needs to go home, plug into his Apple, stick it in his bunghole or whatever it is he does, and then hit software update, because his thinking is along the lines of 401k is the way to be safe in retirement. And like, that's cool. But I like to flip real estate. Like the way that he's thinking, he's in this old school mentality. I don't know, whatever.
You know,
He's got me fired up.
there was, I mean, there was something that, um, I don't know if I think it was Rich and Spot that were having the conversation, but they were talking about Jim Ramsey. You know, Jim, he's like 400 years old and he's 8 feet
Yes.
tall.
Mm-hmm.
And he always chimes in with, you guys need to do this and you guys need to do that and all that. I don't know, Doug, like 800 years old, probably retired in like 1994. So when he's telling them about what they need to do and, you know, segments they need to do and how they need to adjust this or that, yeah, he was in sports radio like 5 ago, probably
Right.
for 50 years himself. But I'm like, what the Jim Ramsey know about? And I'm not saying I do, because I don't, or else we'd be in status, right?
I'll never say I do again.
Yeah, but the thing is, what I mean, I think it's nice that he tries to contribute and but the thing is, like Spot said, Jim Ramsey's very condescending when he says you guys should be doing this or whatever, right? But I'm like, what the about content today going viral, the way media has to be. And so for Rich to be like, oh yeah, no, we really appreciate, you know, Jim's feedback, and he worked in broadcasting for 30 years. Cool, but what does that have to do with about today? You know what I'm saying? I don't, because like you're saying,
Bob Euchre worked in broadcasting for a long time.
But you wouldn't take his advice
he's going to
today?
know how to start his podcast tomorrow? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
think he can record something from home? I doubt it.
yeah, no, 100%. And that's where I'm like, I don't
But before I'm going to do what I learned in business, is that in business class they say kiss 'em, smack 'em, kiss 'em. Shout out Jessica Engelke, she was my teacher. So you gotta compliment them, smack the dog them, and then finish it with a compliment. And I'm gonna do it backwards. I'm gonna smack the compliment and then smack the. So here comes his compliment. He also was saying he didn't know anyone with a kitchen scale, and Spot was acting again like it was normal and this and that and the other. Because even this, bro, I've lost over 40 pounds probably 3 or 4 times in my life, and never have I had to do it the way Spot does it. And that's not to knock nothing. And you can weigh, you can do what you want, but have you ever? And I'm not even gonna date myself, but I have never seen someone weigh food in front of me. Have you?
Yeah, I've done it. And you said you've lost weight, and I've lost weight, a handful of times myself, right? I've never been from Ken and Barbie, but I've up and down. When I really did get into the macros and about this many grams of this and this many grams of this, it really was a lot of weighing. Because if you look at like a box of pasta or whatever, make or bake or whatever, it'll say about a cup. All right, it'll say 1 cup is 1 serving, or 15 ounces or whatever, or 6 ounces or whatever.
I'm biased though, bro. The
Why?
people that do that don't want to down. To me, it just seems like they're trying to shortcut. They do that because they're trying to lose weight by counting instead of putting in the.
But how is that not putting in the work if you're actually tracking your?
Because if they just cut their portions in half and exercise an hour or 2 a day, it's the same. I just don't understand. Like, I get it. The reason I count numbers. I don't drink soda when I'm on a diet because a couple big gulps equal a couple Big Macs.
Yeah.
So I get it. The numbers do count, but I don't know, man.
I think it's, if you're gonna take it really seriously, and what I was saying about, like, say you have, like, you're making a cup of pasta or whatever, is your cup overflowing? Is your cup right at the line? Is your cup right below?
Let me put you on pause like a comma real quick. So you weigh you're on a diet, but do you weigh anything any other time? Have you did what Spot said, where the density in the flour can vary from brand to brand? And I know it can. I get it. I worked in a store. He's absolutely right. But number one, how much does it matter? And number two, when you weren't on a diet, did you ever weigh your instead of using the average measuring cup or teaspoon or tablespoon?
No, I'm not saying I do that all the time. I have done it a couple of times when
Only diet related, right?
Yeah.
So I think Rich is right. Who the is their flour just to do it? If you're not on some special diet where you're, like Spot said, if the chicken is 200 grams, it's 50 grams of protein.
I love
right?
your spot.
Okay.
I love your
Dude, that shit was getting me all up. So I get that part of it. But if you're not on some crazy ass diet, are you really weighing your flour when you're making bread?
Quick update. It took 14 minutes for the beers to kick in because that you're be funny as fuck right now.
Well, they haven't even kicked in. I don't feel.
But so check this out. I think if
I'm gonna kick them in right. You know what, bro? Just because you said that, I'm gonna kick them in right now.
All right. Oh, there you go.
Kick them in.
So I really think it depends on how accurate you want to be, because think about it. Covino was saying that Jordan has one because she does a lot of baking and she measures her shit like that in baking. And it kind of...
Who's her favorite football player? Baker Mayfield?
And the thing is, I do see it can be kind of easy if you have your scale and you have like a bowl on it and you're throwing your ingredients in there. Then you
I'm
toss
a master
them in.
with a scale.
I've
been using a scale the majority of my life. I get it.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't use it every day.
Started with a Tanita.
But I don't use one very often, obviously. But people Vino said that Jordan does. So I don't know. Maybe there are some people that do. I remember growing up, my mom had one of these old school ass ones, dog, that it was like not digital or nothing. It was like almost like when you would weigh like bananas and shit, like at the like at the market. And it was like one of those where it would weigh and then it would go down and you would see, oh, this is 27 grams or whatever. My parents had an old school one, but it might have been from when they were dieting. I don't like, my mom's never been a big lady, but I don't, But
my question is, have you ever seen anybody when preparing a meal, normally, not dieting, weigh any shit out on a scale?
When I was a kid, yeah, I remember seeing my mom do it. But not since I was a kid, not since 1997.
And that's the only time you ever saw it.
Yeah.
Then Rich is right.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Unless it's an extreme circumstance, nobody's weighing shit.
Mm-hmm.
No, I take that back. People are weighing shit. But you know what? It has to be for a purpose or for a reason. The average person is not going in the kitchen, busting out a digi to weigh yeast because they're making sourdough.
Mm-hmm. Or there was some dirty they're trying to, there's a lot of shit. Oh, speaking of dirty question. So,
yes, answer.
You talked about somebody working the seafood counter, right? So say you're working with the lady and she's working the seafood counter. Is she more likely to not bathe as much as somebody working the
I hope not. Hope she in my opinion, she should bathe twice as much. And to be honest with you, B. Riles, we've talked about him on the show. He did work the seafood counter, and me and Columbo live with him.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, they should bathe twice as much.
Why, they smell like the seafood?
They do. He smells like straight fish.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Do you think the that is working the cash register knows she's going to be up by these people? She needs to not be funky. The female that's going to be working the seafood counter knows that it's not going to. They're not going to know if it's her or the food.
I don't. You know what? I'm going to give you my answer and how I would answer it. I don't want to be funky. I don't care if you can tell. I'm extra funky. That's why when Spot didn't wash his ass and he talked about not bathing for 4 days, we rant and raved on our show. Like, if I can smell me, I'm assuming you can smell me, and I've already went way too long.
Dog, do you guys have like Circle K's and 76s?
Oh, we got Circle K's. Yeah, we
okay.
had 76.
So, every time, dog, I come out of a Circle K, or anybody, you can have somebody like run in, pay for gas, and get back in the car. Every time you end up smelling like, you smell like boxes of cartons of cigarettes and if you don't believe me and you're listening to this, the next time you or somebody you know goes into K. When you get back in your car, you're like, smell like Circle K. This is bullshit. Or if there's somebody they run in, they grab a Twinkie or whatever back in the car.
Oh, Twinkie.
And you're like, how are you gonna eat that Twinkie smelling like Circle K?
I got to go for you that's similar to that.
All right, what is it?
You ever go to the grocery store where you see the Reset crew kind of changing shit out on the aisle, like they get the whole aisle taken apart?
Yeah.
Go by and smell them. They all smell like Motel 6. Cigarettes and cheap coffee.
Doug, I remember, speaking of Motel 6, I was at a Motel 6 one time, right, in the parking lot.
Super 8's a little better.
So I was at a Motel 6 in the parking lot with somebody that may have been a little questionable. And
I believe it.
This dude walks up, Doug, this tweaker, right? Took off his shoes so he was barefoot and tried to sell us his shoes.
Were they J's?
Dog, they were just like some 1997 Spot Kmart sneakers.
Spot?
They were just like some old, yeah.
The checkered Vans?
Yeah, they were just whack. But I was like, and then he was like, I remember he was like, "Can I use your phone?" And I was like, I looked at him and I was like, do I just say no or whatever? And then the female was like, his phone don't work. And the guy was like, all right, fuck. So he left. And I was like, yeah, that's right, baby. That's right. You tell them, tweakers, wait, I don't remember where we were going or what happened. What else you got besides Rich?
80 sitcoms. I'm going to start with the Silver Spoons. They played the jam.
Mm-hmm.
I used to watch Silver Spoons. And Carlton was the OG back then. I don't know if anyone remembers, but he was actually a little tighter than Ricky.
Yeah, I never seen it. I've always known that Alfonso Ribeiro was on it. I've known the Ricky Schroeder shit. I know all the references. Never seen an episode in my life. The only time I've ever even seen a little bit was the episode that they played on the show this week.
Okay.
With Menudo coming out.
Yeah. Well, it was tight, and it was crazy. They almost did him dirty by making him fucking Carlton because he was actually the G. He was the tight one on Silver Spoons.
Yeah. I've seen so many things of Carlton, Doug. As like,
oh yeah, he's fucked for. I mean, well, he's not fucked. I mean, if he embraces it, he's good. But
as a kid, I've seen so many like around the time Silver Spoons, when he did the Pepsi commercial with Michael Jackson. I've seen so many like behind the scenes shit, and it's so weird because he looks to me like a little adult. Like he has like a Jerry curl, and he's like 9. But it looks like
he was tight though. He was tight back then.
He looks like a little adult. It's to me. I feel like Alfonso Ribeiro was never a kid. But
what was your other 80s sitcom favorites?
I liked Growing Pains. That was probably my favorite.
I like Growing Pains.
Growing Pains was my shit when I was a kid.
Hey, yo, Samantha. I like the Who's the Boss too.
I never seen that either.
Bona. You never seen Who's the Boss?
Nah. Maybe an episode or two. I never. That was like a little before my time. Who's the Boss and Married with Children was kind of before my time. I remember.
What?
I remember watching Married with Children a little bit. And then
that was the shit.
Yelling at me because it was inappropriate because I was like 6.
Highly inappropriate.
But I didn't know. I didn't even get the references, Doug. There was like 4 channels when we were a kid,
No, for sure.
So
and 2 of them played the same shit.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think of any other shit. My shit was more like 90s sitcoms and like TGIF shit. It was like, besides Growing Pains, I watched the hell out of some Growing Pains.
I never understood that TGIF shit. How'd you get into that? You weren't doing shit on Fridays or what?
Not when I was like, Doug, let me see. Full House.
You weren't playing with your buddies and having people stay the night or nothing or what?
Full House ended when I think the Olsen twins were like 9. And
we were playing Flashlight Attack and we were doing all kind of shit on Fridays. We were throwing rocks at cars.
Did you guys ever play Who's in My Mouth?
No, didn't I? I've never heard of that game.
Okay. No. If anybody spent the night, it was like my cousins and shit. Like they used to spend the night all the time. But
Tip Dog slept on my couch for like 5 months.
I remember my brother's friend Nathan moved in with us for like a year.
Yeah, no, between no bullshit. between Rudy Garcia,
Yeah.
back when I was little, from like third grade to probably like seventh grade, he was there all the time. I mean, straight up all the time. Tip Dog from like sixth grade till shit, I moved out. He was always there, and Columbo was always there. I mean, always there. They had a free pass to just go to the fridge, go to the cabinet. Like it's almost like they lived there, but they didn't. So we were always like, even as little kids, we were still like sneaking out and like doing stupid shit, throwing rocks at cars, stealing Christmas lights. I don't know, bro.
Yeah.
We were acting up.
But yeah, let me see. There was that. They had another conversation around the same time about so they had the TV shows. They had, what else did they have? They had another conversation that I don't know off the top of my head. Let me see. Oh, TV sitcoms. Oh yeah, there we go. The top 3 Covino and Rich arguments. So they have, what do you think, like, what do they argue about the most?
The most?
Yeah, like throughout the whole entirety of the show from 2004 to now. What are the
I don't know. I know
arguments?
recently it's about Rich's gummies, his Rich's gummy man. So I mean, they Covino doesn't see eye to eye with that shit.
Doug,
That comes up often.
Rich cracked me up the other day because he was saying that he was on, I think he said 2 edibles, a hydrocodone, and he
Yes.
had a drink. And I was like, he must have been so twacked out of his mind that I wish he would have done a behind the velvet rope then, so we could have seen the way he was acting.
It just depends. Because if he's only taking the little 10 milligram, is he taking, what kind of edibles is he taking? Because here's the
10s.
thing. Well, 10 is the entry level. That's what they tell you at the dispensary when you go to take if you're a beginner.
Yeah.
So what, he doubled up the beginner dose, took one Vicodin and had a beer?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
I want to see him, bro. B. Riles, like I said, that take 10 Vicodin in a and squish it around and slam it.
Okay, but there's a difference between B. Riles, who's just about to knock over old ladies and take their purse.
But forget the 20 milligram
And-
edibles. Like the timeout. The dose of edibles he took is so minor it can't even factor into the equation.
I think it can. Dog,
It can't. It can't, bro. It's 2 gummies. He ate 2 gummies.
Yeah,
The 10 come in a pack for $1. He ate 20% of the $10 pack.
But Doug, but if you're not, well, I don't know.
Most people don't even feel 10 milligrams. Bro. I worked at the we made the shit and we made them. Most people, there's a lot of people out there that'll eat a 10 milligram gummy and not even feel it. He ate 20. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
So let's just take that shit out of the equation.
I can't even have 10. I have 10 and I start, like Covino said, he said that he'll end up in the bottom of his shower crying. Like for me, I've never had a great experience with even 10.
So they sell a 10 pack and you can't eat one?
I have.
Honestly, bro, I mean, you're being honest right now?
100%. I've had
What,
one.
how does it make you feel? What does one make you do?
I don't know. I don't like it. I just feel like out of it. I feel like when you're hella drunk and you start to like almost spin and you're kind of like can't
Off
really
one gummy?
Yeah,
And I don't like to eat them. And I'm not saying this because I eat the whole bag. I won't ever eat more than 1 or 2. That's why I'm giving you my opinion. I don't like to feel it either.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the way it makes me feel. But I don't feel nothing off 1 gummy. And if I eat 2, I mean, it just, I have to be drinking or something. I can't do that sober because I might feel that a little bit. But dude, I mean,
think about it, Doug.
Micro dosing the half a gummy.
Doug, think about it. Most days I'm
Googling it.
like let me see. I can't remember the last time I had a drink. And the last time I had any sort of weed, edible, anything, I don't even remember. So if I'm going to have anything, it's going to knock me on my ass because my tolerance is so low even with drinks. I think, I remember the last time I had a couple of drinks was at a comedy show. Like maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago.
I don't know about drinks. That's different. But even okay, you know what? That's perfect. 10 milligrams of a gummy is like 1 or maybe 2 drinks.
To you. I'm gonna pull up the
No,
Wayne
to
Brady.
people, that's just the way it is.
I don't think so. Dog, you've been smoking weed since like the
I don't
fucking.
eat it. I don't like to eat it. I'm telling. Okay, we're on Leafly. They're a well recognized industry standard. Um,
Of course, 10 is the recommendation. That don't mean it don't get you.
no, I'm just reading. I'm just reading it. Hold
Okay.
on, let's check it out before we jump the gun, bro. I haven't even read nothing yet. You're already fucking getting defensive.
Yeah, I'm not defensive. I'm just saying tolerance.
Okay, it has. Okay, I'm looking at right now the edible dosing chart. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 to 5 milligrams is low. This dose helps with pain, nausea, inflammation, and may help with sleep. New users will likely feel a degree of an intoxication and including feeling less coordinated, more silly. 5 milligram dose is when a high begins to set in for many new and inconsistent consumers. So 10 to 15, okay, it says is moderate. Okay, well, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Because right now it says
Well, see,
20
the
to
reason why I'll tell you is because I've gotten a 10 pack of those like rings, right? That it's like
Right.
10 milligrams or whatever. And
From
I've
Amazon?
I've had like no, and I've had like half of one, which is 5 milligrams, and been like it's like a microdose basically, and that's like cool, So I don't know.
And you can get by on that's what I'm saying. You can get by on that.
Yeah,
Okay, so there you go. Half of one you can get by on someone that never eats them.
yeah,
This eats them every night, bro.
You make a
I'm
point.
telling you, 2 of them ain't shit.
yeah. No,
You're not getting it. If he eats them every show, the word gummy and rich gets brought up.
Hey,
Did not.
Luis is joining us live right now. I just seen him in the chat.
Tell him what's up.
Hey, I haven't listened to all your voice messages because we started recording, Doug. So my bad.
So you just proved my point, bro.
Okay.
If you can eat a half, you're telling me the man that eats them every single night now for what, 2 years can't eat 2?
Well, he never said he couldn't. I said.
So let's take that out of the question. But because he does that consistently, the only thing he doesn't do consistently is take a Vicodin and drink a beer.
Yeah.
That's what he did.
And that's what I'm saying. When you combined all of it,
No,
what do you mean no? How is combining more shit? How does that not make you more?
it doesn't. Because you have a tolerance you're only really getting the 2 you don't have a tolerance for. The one you have a tolerance for, you're going to do anyways.
Okay.
That's like so that you know what that is? That's like what you're acting like right now, bro, is if he took a Vicodin and drank a beer and he was a cigarette smoker, if he lit up a cigarette, it tasted like the first one ever.
Okay. So you just said you're going to let the beers really kick in when you lit your right? So if it doesn't intensify the other things, why would you say that earlier?
Intensify?
You said
it didn't. So hold on. Do you think smoking weed intensifies the beer?
No, you're the one who said I'm gonna let the beers kick in, and then you grabbed your blunt to light it. So what does that mean?
Right.
What does that mean by let the beers kick in if you're gonna light your blunt? Because I said we're 14 minutes from when you drink your beers and you're getting
Yes.
silly or whatever. You're like, oh, they haven't kicked in, but now they're about to, and you lit your blunt.
Because briefly, for about 10 minutes, it gives you a little crossfade.
Oh, so
then
it does affect each other.
Bro, for 10 minutes. Again, if you didn't smoke any kind of weed and you smoked a blunt, how would you be affected? Probably for like 2 to 3 hours, right?
Dog, you said that you don't care to really eat edibles, right? Cause like what, maybe like 10 or 20 milligrams doesn't make you feel too great, right?
I eat that every night. That's why I'm coming from this point.
Well,
Because I don't feel shit. I eat the 10 to 20 and I don't feel nothing no more, bro. I was the guy that didn't like to eat them, and I started with a 0.5 milligram, and they would help me sleep through the night. And then I worked my way up to 10 milligrams, and then I worked my way up to 1.5. Now I take 2. Guess what, bro? I take them every night like Rich Davis, and I don't feel shit.
well, that's what I was going to say, is that right now Luis said that he'll have about 40 to 50 milligrams.
See?
To me, that sounds astronomical. That sounds fucking...
It's not, bro. I mean, that's just someone, to me, let me tell you from someone who worked in the industry and knows a lot of people who take a lot of shit. To me, that's normal for somebody.
That's crazy to me.
Bro, I've seen people take nano that was like 200 at a time and just drink it and work a 10-hour shift.
That's nuts.
To you, it's nuts to you.
Yeah.
But that's why him taking 20 to me ain't shit.
Yeah.
I've seen people do it. So for me, what I would be concerned with is the fact he took a Vicodin and mixed it with alcohol.
But I thought it doesn't affect each other.
Alcohol and Vicodin affect each other.
Okay.
It tells you in the bottle not to drink with the pills.
Okay, but earlier you were saying that it doesn't.
I said the weed doesn't. I'm not a pharmacist. They tell you not to drink. They say it slows your heart rate down.
Oh, maybe Rich needs his
The
heart
weed
rate.
don't slow your heart rate down.
I don't know. I'm not a weedologist either, so I don't know.
I am, and I'm here to tell you it don't.
I know. That's why I'm coming to you, because I need answers.
No, the thing is I would be concerned with the Vicodin and the alcohol, not the weed.
Yeah. I just think everything, but I mean, who knows? I mean, obviously you said it doesn't affect anything, but I was just thinking everything together would be like a little trifecta, but who knows?
It does, but if he eats edibles every night, he probably has a tolerance to the edibles. And I'm not saying it's not going to interact with the alcohol or the Vicodin, but I don't know how much of that he's going to feel, because that's a feeling he's accustomed to. The one he's not accustomed to is the alcohol and the Vicodin. That's what's going to, not the little bit of that he's eaten that he eats every single night that he's built up a tolerance to. That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough.
And it's the weakest one. It's the weakest one of the three. Yes.
Let me see. What else do you want to go in? We had the top three. Let me see. Rich got grumpy. We talked about that. If you want to chime in on the, please let us know if you have anything that you wanted us to hit on. Let me see. Jury duty show. Michael J. Fox. Oh, let me look at my notes. Those are just show topics. Let me see what the. I wanted to ask about this, because this was something, Doug, that I felt like they said was like common knowledge. They were talking about shit that they got for Easter as far as like gifts. Did you ever get gifts for Easter?
When I was little and we didn't have a lot of scratch, I would just get the little cheap candy.
Yeah.
And then I think I got one or two, like maybe at like 13 or 14, but that was it.
We never got, Doug, we always had like a dope ass like Easter basket. Like even when we were like 14 or 15,
that's what it was all about.
Gang of chocolate and shit, right? But did you ever get like sneakers and like clothes for school and shit? They were talking about, maybe that's an East Coast thing, but I don't know. I'd never ever, anybody I know, and most of the people I know are on the West Coast, right? I've never seen anybody get like, oh, you got them new oh yeah, you know, or
the bunny brought them.
You know, like, Doug, I've never heard of that in my life. Like even like we'll do like little shit for my daughter. Like we'll have like her like a dope ass little basket, and in there throw in like a little pop-it shit or whatever. But I'm not getting her sneakers and shit. But you know what? I think you
don't put J's in the middle of the basket.
You know what,
cover
though?
them up?
I think it is a coast thing. You know why? My mother-in-law's from Jersey, right? And the other day we got a package, right? And I was like, what the package from her? And it was new pajamas and slippers and a little package of gifts for Easter for my daughter.
Really?
Yeah. So maybe it is an East Coast thing, dog, because
Could be.
I was like, why did Mima send you that shit? And she's like,
Mima?
Yeah, that's what she calls her grandma.
Wasn't she on that one show?
Hollywood
Hillbillies?
Probably. But
yeah, Mima, bro. I think she croaked. I thought Mima croaked.
No, I saw a meme. It said white people will call their grandparents anything. It's like, what the Mima? And so I asked my daughter, I was like, what the Mima get you that? She's like, for Easter. And I was like, oh, I guess. But when
Mima was managed by David Weintraub, Too Short's manager.
When the guys are talking about that though, dog, I was like, what? I never heard of that shit. I never heard of that. But it was funny because was it that conversation where EJ Reed was like, what the like, I didn't ever heard of that, but I didn't want to say nothing because
hey, is EJ related to Ed or Andre?
I think he's related to. No, I think he's related to Christopher.
Oh, okay.
Christopher Reed, kid in play.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But let me see. That Easter shit made me laugh, dog, because I was like, "What the fuck?" Oh, their shit, dog. Like, at work, we have this kid that's like 22, right?
Okay.
And I told him the other day, I was like, "Dog," I was like, "I would like to get in your brain for Let me see. Luis says Cucuy is right. I went from 10 to 40 or 50 in about a week. 10 became nothing in like 4 days. So what do you call it?
Thank you, Luis.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, bro.
Oh, yeah. You guys. All right. You guys could go each other off now.
Nah, hey, I'm just calling it for what it. I don't want to jerk nobody up. I'm just calling for what it is.
What was I going to tell you, Doug? I don't have a thought. Oh, so I told this dude, I was like, Doug, I was like, I wonder how like because all of us, Doug, we remember 9/11 like it was last week, right? We have clear memories of that day. This kid,
But know who's the boss?
no, this kid was born in 2000, right? So so he was a year when the happened. Like literally, he had just turned a year in August, and then September this shit happened. So I was like, I would like to see how you view 9/11 from like your perspective, you know, because I was thinking about Spot. Spot went to like he was on vacation, and do you remember when that dead giveaway shit happened? Where he's like, I knew something was wrong when a pretty little white girl walked into a black man's arms. Dead giveaway. Dead giveaway. They play that song. Well, that viral clip that happened when Spot wasn't in America. So when he came back, he heard about all the hype and shit, but he never got to experience it. So I think Spot dropped a clip this week, and I'm like, look at Spot. He's dropping the clip, and he never even got to experience the reference like everybody else, you know? So
Right.
is there anything that you think you missed or anything as far as like a viral clip or some shit, or you just get, or
No, I don't
you
think
can't
so.
think of anything?
No, I can't.
Dog, I don't know why this is being weird. Oh, here we go. I can make it bigger. Hold on, Doug. I'm my bad.
It's all good.
All right, I'm gonna put it over here. Oh, so let me see. Oh, let me see. Luis mentioned about when I started dating blank. They thought it was crazy that I had never gotten an Easter basket in my life. Oh, with presents in my life. They gave me an Easter basket with all her nieces. So maybe it's a white people thing, right? I don't know. Because Luis said that his ex thought it was crazy he never got presents for Easter. And she was white.
I mean, I got candy. I did get candy.
Well, yeah, candy and like Easter shit, but not. Like I said, Doug, you weren't getting some new J's right in the middle of.
What's funny is when you your money status is a family who's not all the way up there.
Yeah.
It was a bunch of shitty ass little plastic eggs with cheap ass jelly beans.
Yeah, 100%, Doug.
Remember that shit?
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
And they start making a little more scratch and shit, and they graduate to Cadbury eggs, right? Now you're getting Cadbury and shit. You're like, you're getting a little Reese's peanut butter egg, and
Fuck yeah, those are so good. Yeah.
Easter was great when it was jelly beans. I mean, you took them, right?
Yeah.
But it was way better once they graduated to good chocolate.
Fuck yeah, dog. The good chocolate was so dope. But yeah, no, let me see.
Although screw them little Girl Scouts, I like the cheap cookies from not Walmart, but the Dollar Tree. You ever had the knockoff Girl Scout cookies from the Dollar Tree?
Yeah, actually, not from
Pretty fire.
Not from. Actually, I probably have from the Dollar Tree, but there's a grocery store. I forget what it is, but there's some like knockoff Samoas that they have. I think they're like Keebler ones.
Keebler has. If you get the grasshoppers, they're like the Thin Mints.
Yeah.
I forgot what the name is. I used to sell them all the time. But yeah, they had the caramel coconut chocolate things. Those are fire.
Doug, I want to ask you, have you ever done this shit? So I did this like maybe like a week ago. Have you ever heard of astral projection?
Not sure.
Okay.
Doesn't ring a bell,
So
but
I'm not saying I did it, but I did. I think some variation of this. So astral projection is where they people say like when you're sleeping, this is what's happening, where you leave your body, right? And
okay.
so
I've heard of that.
what people say about astral projection is you can train yourself to do it when you're awake. So you could like basically go into a crazy meditative state,
Right.
get up out of your body, go through your house, and like basically be there like 100% while you haven't left your body or whatever, right? So like
I saw something similar to that on TikTok.
so like maybe like a week ago, I was laying down and something like jogged my memory about a house I lived in when I was a kid, right? Like the house like I basically grew up in. And I don't know what made me think about it. I think because I've gone by it in the last like I don't know, maybe like 6 months or something. And I was like, damn, this shit has changed all kinds. And well, what I did was the other day I was laying in
Did you
bed.
knock on the door?
No. Well, the other day I was laying in bed and I was thinking about it and like I was picturing myself like at the gate to get in the yard. And then I started like in my mind walking up to like the front door and you know looking around like the little porch area and then going in the house and dog I remembered so much shit. Like it wasn't astral projection, but
Right.
I remembered so much shit that I never would have thought I would ever remember in a million years. And so that's what I'm saying. Right now you could be like, "Hey, you're full of shit. That's stupid, whatever." Cool. In your mind, just remember that I said this. Try it with something. A place you used to work, a school you used to go to, a house you used
Porn
to live
video you
in,
used to watch.
porn video you used to watch. Dog, you'll seen shit that was in the background of that video that you used to like. And it was the amount of shit, like detailed shit that I remembered.
Well,
So
tell us about it.
well, it was like I remember in my mind, you just walked up to the front door, right? Because I was like, oh, bro, we haven't lived in this place since I was in like sixth grade. I don't 30 years ago. Um, well, when I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, that had like a latch, and then I was like, I started walking up to the house, and I was like, oh yeah, the porch was kind of raised, right? And like it was a concrete that was raised, and then the little porch area, I was like, oh yeah, we had like put like lattice and shit like around it, like kind of enclosed it a little bit. And all this shit, dog, that I completely forgot about because I had gone by that house before and they tore all that shit down. So I had completely forgot it even existed because I haven't seen it in 20 plus years. And
Yeah.
so then when I like walked into the living room in my mind,
My mind.
I was like, oh shit, there was a window right here.
Oh shit.
And I was like, oh, right there in the kitchen. I was like, when you looked out the window in the kitchen, there was a little part of the yard you could see, but only from that window. And
Now
then
you're gonna say we can only see a bunch of rainbows.
no, it was weird, dog. Like it was weird. And then I was like, oh shit, I remember like dog, like it was like that. I went into the backyard, started seeing shit in the backyard. Like right now, as I'm telling you, I remembered this piece of concrete that we had that was like this shitty piece of concrete.
Right.
That was like the dogs would come and shit when they didn't want to be on the mud and shit or whatever, and they'd just chill right there or whatever. And I just, it was crazy, Doug. Like it's nuts. So even if you think I'm full of shit or it's stupid or whatever, later
Nah.
when you're in your own little mind,
Later.
after you've had a crazy
After the
dose of
show.
edibles, like you've had like 5 or 6
After you've
milligrams,
had 20, after you've had 2.
after you've had like like 7 milligrams of edibles and you're loaded, then you could sit there and think about it, dog. You're gonna, I'm telling you, you're gonna trip out. You're gonna trip out. But anyway, Doug. Next topic.
And you know what? I'm going to go back to that little argument too. So I'll say this. In my opinion, let me modify my statement. If you want the trifecta and you want the edibles to actually be a factor, he would have had to eat like 50, 60, 70, 80, or a hundo. Now, if he ate the bag, drank a beer, and ate the Vicodin, I think the trifecta is in play.
Oh,
If he ate one or two, I don't think it had no effect on him whatsoever. because that's something he does normally anyways.
Yeah. It's kind of like, yeah, you know.
But he eats 2 bags of edibles, bro. He's 200 deep. Takes that Vicodin and a beer. Yeah, he's gonna be
It's like,
all fucked up.
yeah. Rich's macros. Oh, they were talking about, dog. Do you ask somebody if they got like new tits or a new butt and shit, right? Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard it.
I have a dog. I know plenty of like now as an adult and shit, like with fake tits and shit or whatever, and know a lot of whores and shit. And when I was a
Here's
kid,
my number.
when I was a kid,
My
dog,
old number.
I was like, oh, you know what? Luis was with me so I have a friend. I'm not gonna mention her name because she watches a lot of our content and our stories and shit. So I remember she got new tits, right? And we were like 18, and I remember she got new tits, and she was like, she had like the smallest tits in the world. And then one day I seen her, I remembered that she was getting tits, and I seen them, and I was like, whoa, you know. But it was so weird because I was like, do I compliment them?
No.
They look good. Do I
No.
act like they're not there? Do I act like you've always had them?
Listen, what you do is continue a conversation with good energy, and if she's comfortable talking about them, she'll bring it up.
Yeah, I know. Now, but as an 18-year-old kid, I was like, tits, how do I this, right? So when I left or whatever, I was like, man, that felt weird. And I remember Luis, he probably don't even remember this. He was like, hey, that was I was like, yeah, it was. Because I was like, did you do something different with your hair?
Your hair, it's...
Did you do something different with your tits? I mean, I don't know. But
that's when you're like, hey, you look her in the face, like make eye contact. So that's a nice shirt, and you just zoom in on her boobs.
That's a nice shirt. Oh, you used to not fill it out as nicely as you do now. I'm like, fuck. Then you still.
I think you need to upgrade to a bigger size.
Oh shit! Yeah, I used to wear size medium. Now what is that? A large? Holy. So yeah, shout out to her and her tits.
And her tits.
Yeah.
Tell those tits Mecco says hi.
Oh. So I don't know if you heard, but this week they played the behind the music that I did like years ago, and it was so funny because my sister, she was like, brother, she's like, Rich really thinks that you sound like Mexican.
Did she say it like that or like Hulk Hogan?
Brother. She said, brother. Yeah. She goes, Rich really thinks you sound Mexican as because he was like, after the break, you know? And then Spot later, like the next day, Spot did an impression and Spot did the same thing. So I was like, if you're like from New York or Jersey or some shit, you think I sound beaner as
serious?
I think it was like coming up. Spot's transition and Rich's boxing career.
After the break.
After the break.
I love it. That shit is funny to me.
But it was funny because, mention my mother-in-law again, right? She's from Jersey. She had told my wife something one time about my accent, right? And I told my buddy, who's also named Luis, but not the one I always talk about. And this kid didn't learn English until like 6 years ago, right? So I was like, oh yeah, Luis. I was like, my mother-in-law said I have an accent. And he goes, well, I want her to hear me talk. Because he's like all like, hey, how are you guys doing? You know? And but in Rich's mind, in Spot's mind, in my mother-in-law's mind, that's how I is like, you know, like, can you tell me where to use the baño? You know? Like they're like,
that's classic.
It's so funny that to some people,
it's funny they view you that way.
It is. That's what's funny because to anybody, to Luis, I seen Luis.
You're just a normal dude. I don't know.
Dog, I seen Luis's mom, right? Today. And she's like, ay, mijo. She hugs me, you know, we talk a little bit. In her mind, I am like the whitest Mexican ever. Well, like I'm the whitest wash, you know?
You're a vato, there's no doubt about it, but it's like you don't do anything vato that's like extreme. I haven't seen your chonkulas.
Look at
you haven't made tomato. You ain't been rolling out masa on air. I mean, bro, you're.
Luis goes, He goes, dog. I didn't even hear an accent in the behind the music. He goes, I didn't understand that. Like when they were like, coming up after the break, you know. And Luis goes, I didn't hear an accent. And the only thing was where I was like, coming up after the break. Like doing it like all stupid and shit, right? But it wasn't like, coming up after the break.
You know what? But that brings me to something that I got to bring up. I really wished Rich wouldn't have acted like, hey, we kind of blow stuff up once in a while for the show. Remember when he did that?
Yeah.
Like he kind of said that he exaggerates a little bit. Now I full of shit every time, and I don't know what to believe.
So now you're thinking he doesn't even think I sound Mexican or what?
No, he probably just be that shit up like that because you are Mexican.
That's true. That could be it.
You know what I mean? Because I don't think you have an accent either. You don't know if this guy's telling the truth no more because he told everyone he bullshits from time to time.
Oh, you know what? And for the Cucuy and the patrons and shit, I'm working on a Behind the Velvet or Behind the Music part 2. And I was up last night doing shit. Luis goes, I feel like my family thinks you're as white as Wonder Bread.
Classic.
They really do like they do. But it's so funny that perception.
They probably love your ass though.
They do, dog. Luis's mom literally, when I was leaving, I saw her today when I was at Walmart, and she gave me a hug and she goes, all right, mijo. She goes, I'll see you later. I love you. Like they love, for me, and and they love their Wonder Bread, they love their Wonder Bread.
And she was good for peanut butter and jellies.
And so yeah, but it's so funny to me because like the other day I was talking to somebody that I used to work with, and she was like, yeah, she goes, when you first started, she goes, I thought you were white. And then that was like maybe a week ago, right? And then literally yesterday I was in my office and I was playing some Mexican music, right? And this little Mexican girl that works for financial aid, she walked by my office and she goes, hey, she goes, is that your music? And I was like, I go, yeah. She goes, you're Mexican? Like, so to Mexican people, dog, I'm white as and then but to people, I guess, like Rich, unless he's you said,
I think he's full of shit. Because I mean, think about it. Like, you might be a little vato to him, but to act like you're straight beaner because on the East Coast, he's full of shit.
That's what she said. And I was like, hold up, bitch. I mean, I really got to cut this out, huh?
Yeah,
yeah,
that's classic.
Yeah, so that, and I was like, what the sees me with like a big ass mustache, like,
and the baker.
Yeah, no, and then okay, so my homie Kevin, who I told you about, he's Kennedy's little friend from dance. It's her dad, and we become homies. Well, one time he had came over and we were having some drinks and shit and playing music and shit, and I was playing Mexican music. And he was like, oh, he goes, you're Mexican like that? Because he's like half Mexican, right? But he looks whiter. He has like blondish hair and shit. He looks like a white guy. And he was like, oh, Mexican like that? And I was like, what do you mean like that? I'm like, dog, people are so weird. My old work study, Miguel, he walked into my office one day. He goes, hey, Daniel. I go, what? He goes, what are you? And I go, what am I? I go, Miguel, what the mean, what am I? He goes, like, are you white? Are you Mexican? Oh, yeah.
Well, in a perfect world, you'd want the white people to think you're white and the Latinos to know that you're Latino, because then you can just pimp both sides of it.
Yeah, so I need to pick up my Spanish, but
you're up against all odds any way you look at it.
I feel like Selena. I'm Selena.
The whiteys think you're extra vato, and the vatos act like you're not vato at all.
Exactly. That's exactly 100%.
Well, I don't know. I think they were talking about do you ask someone if they got fake tits or they got butt implants, or if they, do you compliment them when they've lost a bunch of weight? And I think the only one of the three that it's okay is if someone's lost a bunch of weight.
Yeah. Hold on.
You know what I mean?
Real quick, before we get into that, Luis goes, I hate when I tell people I'm an engineer and people say, you don't look like an engineer. Doug, I have something.
It's fucked up.
I have something very similar. If I see somebody, and somehow like in mixed company, like I'm a black T-shirt and like some Jordans or something, right? And people,
Right.
my wife will be like, "Oh, Daniel got his graduate degree in this field or whatever," and people are like, "He has a graduate degree," and I'm like, "Yeah, I got one of those. Why are you mad? Like just
Because I ain't got one.
just because I'm not because I didn't get my degree and then like turned into a dipshit, but because I could still and be normal, because like like I 100%. It's like we're look at in Colombia, they kept calling me Mexican, and I said I'm Mexican in every country, including my own. The only country I'm not Mexican in is Mexico, because I'm a gringo in Mexico. It's true. So if you go to Mexico, right, like Luis is Mexican as I wouldn't say Mexican, he's Americanized like us, right? But he's Mexican, right?
Right.
And then he goes to Mexico, and he's not even the gringo. He's the Americano. Now he's the American. Oh, it's the American. Just the way he carries himself. Oh, now he's the American. He's the white guy, and it is so true. But yeah, dog. My bad.
But that's why Rich does your accent the way that he does, because you're the Mexican.
Yeah, it is 100%. But anyway, Doug. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But back to the weight loss thing. I think if you compliment someone on the weight loss, that's cool. But I don't think, you should not be talking to, especially in today's pussified. You can't even say midget without pissing somebody off. You think it's cool to talk about someone's tits?
Yeah. Nah. I like the word midget, dog. I hope that one don't go away.
Oh, it went away. They already it. So that's my point.
Fuck,
like,
did they?
You can't compliment a chick's ass or her tits in public if you don't know her. Right.
Yeah.
Like, even if you do.
No, I feel
if
you.
You can't say midget. You shouldn't be saying, "Hey, nice ass," or "Hey, did you get some work done to your bosom?" Like, no, it's inappropriate.
I remember, Doug, we were at a Halloween party one year, and
don't be that guy.
This chick had the biggest, most obscure ass I've ever seen in my whole life, right? But it was like nice. And I remember I was like dressed up as like a police officer, and I remember going, "Damn, that bitch has a big old booty," And then my wife looks at me and she goes, "She's got a nice ass, huh?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess you caught me seen a little too many times, But I wasn't gonna walk over and be like, "Hey, is that ass fake?" Because she was like, Mallory told me that she thinks her ass is fake, and I was like, "Yeah, it probably is." So the women.
But what level does it have to bother you to where you ask?
Yeah, I know. That's the thing. I don't know. I would never.
That's just chatter between you and your lady.
Exactly right, but it's know your creep factor, Doug. I would never. So I could get. No, I'm not trying to. No, 100%.
Hey, KCF, know your creep factor. Melting pot.
Never been there.
Me either.
Okay.
But if you go, would you not eat the meat, or would you stick to cheese and chocolate?
What's the meat?
Fondue.
They boil it or something, right?
Yeah, Covino said that he had some steak and Jordan had some scrimps.
I'm not opposed to it. I would try it, I think.
You just said it. You'd never been there, right? Why not eat it all?
Yeah, right. It's
because I'm not turning down the chocolate or the cheese either. I want to try the. I don't fondue if I do, or how do they say that shit? How do they go, bro?
Yeah.
Don't mind if I fondue.
What do you call it? Yeah, Yeah, no, I would try everything. I don't remember what Covino said. Did he try anything? Or did he just go with the same old shit?
I think he was. Well, they got pissed off at him at first because I guess he had Jordan order, so they were asking him questions about this and about that, and they got all fired up, or he got fired up because they're. But I think he said he got some steak or whatnot, and I'll do the same thing. If we're going somewhere, in my opinion, and they're touted for something like their meat or whatnot, I'm gonna try it, right? Aren't you?
Yeah, no, I am 100%.
Especially they have some crazy ass broth they cook it in. I mean, I'm curious.
Yeah. No, I would. I think so. I think it'd be dope to just try something different.
But I'm gonna eat the cheese and chocolate too. Fat Boy. I mean, I don't just go to Golden Corral or hometown buffet and stick to the salad bar.
Yeah.
Right. I'm hitting it all. I hit the fried section. I might make me a taco at the taco bar.
Damn, that
I
sounds
might get a
bomb
little,
right now, dog. Like a
little bread bowl with some chowder, some chili.
salad bar, dog. I'll go to a buffet that's just a salad bar. I love salad, dog.
No, I'll tear salad up, but then you got to hit the carving station, right? And then they got an Asian station where they got like yellow or steamed rice with like some teriyaki beef.
I will toss a salad from fucking Mexico.
From the taint to the belly button.
Oh, let me see. Oh man. Oh,
That's that fifth beer got out of me.
Doug, have you ever ran into somebody that had completely lost their mind?
What do you mean ran into somebody?
Somebody that you used to know that is either now high as mental case. Because
I'm not gonna bring his name up, but I think I told the story on the show, bro.
Did you really?
They ate a bunch of LSD, went to the lake, and one of the dudes in their party turned into a weirdo and went to the phone booth. There's a store. It's like, there's this Table Mountain Casino Road, and then there's Lost Lake, and you could pull off. And back in the day, there was a store there with the payphone, and they all went to the lake and they took a bunch of acid. And one of the guys left the group and went to the payphone and said the rest of them kidnapped him, bro. And they all came and drawn, and like it was a big old deal. And they were frying. They were all peaking on LSD. And one of the people who, he was the driver or whatnot, I guess it never wore off. Like that event, like, kind of dictated the rest of his life.
You know, it's crazy. There's been a few people, and it's that I have known that's happened to. They had done some shit. I think they were smoking weed, is what the story was, and somebody like laced it with some shit, and like
KJ,
they thought it was funny as to. So they got they stayed up for, let me see, 20
debone
like 20,
smoking the chicken coop,
like 22 years, dog, like literally.
Oh,
and they just kind of came to and shit. Like,
yeah, that ain't right.
That's some dog. That's like,
we only get what we talk about it. We only get 75 summers, man. Someone robbed you out of 20 something of those. Might have to hurt your ass.
Yeah, no. But yeah, and there's somebody else I know that just has a weird reaction to weed where when they smoke it,
that happens.
That's a little different.
That happens. Rich being high off 20 milligrams, not happening. Someone having an adverse reaction to weed, very likely. I mean, even me, man, I puffed it as a kid. I never could smoke too much.
Yeah.
Like, there was never a point where we smoked any amount where I was like, oh, shouldn't have took that last hit. Never. But I had a situation where I whatever, I won't get into the details, but one time I got keyed and I was like 21, and it up, dude. And then after that, yeah, I had to be careful. I had to make sure that, I was in the right situation for a while until I got used to it again.
I remember one time I stayed on my homie's couch because my problem, see, Doug, I think I never really got into smoking. And when
it's working out. You gotta do reps, bro.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Because when I was younger, the handful of times I did, I would smoke with people that were like, would smoke, they'd wake and bake, every. And so that was my problem, is because, what's up?
No, that's me.
Oh, because
I was just letting you know I was in the building.
Well, see,
too.
that was my problem, is that I'd be like, I'd go kick it with Cucuy, and he's like smoking. I'm like, oh, I'm just, when in Rome, right? So then I'd smoke with Cucuy, not realizing that Cucuy's tolerance is up here, and I've never smoked. So I remember one time I was sitting on my buddy's couch, and I stayed for like what I felt was like maybe 2 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was only like 3 minutes. I remember that time, Doug, because I remember I looked at the clock. They had a clock by the front door, and it was like 11:23. And I remember we were watching this Kevin Hart special, right? It was when he was like more new. And I remember we were laughing for like ever, dog. I felt like decades had gone by, and I looked, and it was like 11:25 or 11:26. I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, I still remember it. Felt like for in ever. Yeah. So that shit happens sometimes.
I remember my first time ever getting keyed and shit. I was trying to, or not my first, maybe my second or third, but I was trying to leave my dad a note, and I remember I couldn't even write straight and shit. Like it was kind of funny. I wrote it like 8 times, threw the other ones away.
It's funny, dog, when shit like that happens, and you come back and you look at it, and you see like your penmanship or something. You're like, that's what I thought I was gonna get away with, you know? Like,
Yeah, no, yeah,
no, but I brought that up because I ran into somebody earlier today. I told you about, and dog,
Yeah, you did.
It was because they were telling me, they were like, yeah, I hadn't seen this person in years, and they were like, yeah, I still talk to this person and that person, and one of the people they mentioned has been, they died 2 years ago. So I was like, oh, is crazy,
cray.
So yeah, it was nuts, dog, and it was like, so I go, dog, and I get in line, and I was like, oh, like I know who this is in front of me.
Why didn't you get in a different line?
It was the only line. I was going to the customer service.
Then why don't you lapse?
Because I was returning something. I don't want to walk around the store carrying a bag of something.
Didn't they give you a sticker?
No. I just walked right in.
Where was the old man who was 200 years old at the front door that gives you a sticker?
I don't know. I just walked in, and so then I walked, and I was like, I seen her, and I was like, oh, I just told El Cucuy a story about this chick right here on the podcast like a couple weeks ago. So I text him like, dog, I'm behind this bitch that I just mentioned or whatever. And then I was like, then she turns around and she's like, Daniel. And I was like, oh. But yeah, anyway. It's crazy. It's crazy though, dog, when that shit happens. You're like, it's crazy because you have a memory of somebody and how they were, and now they're crazy, and it's like, fuck, it's just weird,
It is. Well, check it out. If you can edit some music in right here, that'd be great. But this is the part of the show where I say,
what kind of music?
I don't know, some kind of celebratory award music, because this is the part of the show where I say I was wrong and Rich was right.
Hold on. All right, then give me a second. Let me share the music with you then.
I was wrong.
Hold on.
Rich was right. Should I say it again?
All right.
I was wrong. Rich was right.
You were what?
Creating your first video.
Oh, shit.
I was wrong. Rich was right. And you know that to take pride in that. If someone plays this for him, he's going to get all excited.
Why do you say that?
Because he's egotistical.
No. Why do you say you were wrong and he was right?
Oh. I watched a couple episodes of Shrinking, and I liked it. I talked some shit, but I'm a man. I stand behind my shit. And if I make a mistake or I change my mind or whatnot, I come on and own my shit.
Yeah.
That's why I said Rich was right. I was wrong. Shrinking is a pretty good show. I'm not going to go Rich Davis and tell you need to watch it and it's your shit and it's the best show ever or top 3 on, but I do enjoy it. So I take my comments back.
No, I like it. I talked to Luis about it the other day. He was saying that he's watched it and he was like, oh, this is why. I'm going to play a game called Good. I'm going to play a game called Good and Garbage, right?
Okay.
So this is actually how Luis and I started talking about Shrinking.
Bueno y basura?
Yeah, this is called Good and Garbage. So there was a special that came out recently that was good. A stand-up special by a guy named Big J Covino. Luis said that Shrinking was passable, so it's pretty good. Okay, not terrible, not great.
Right.
But
I'm with him on that. I'm with him.
So there's a guy named Big J Okerson who I've never been a fan of.
Okerson?
Yeah. And I watched him maybe a week ago or whatever. And I liked his special. I didn't love it. It wasn't the greatest of all time, but it was good, right? Now, part 2, because it reminded me, because you said Rich and you were talking shit and you're going to take back your shit or whatever, right?
I take it back.
Okay. So again, now there was another comedy special, and YouTube kept recommending it to me, and I go, I'm not gonna watch this shit.
Listening.
I go, I'm not gonna watch this shit. I'm like, this dude's, and then I go, come on, Daniel. And I was like,
hey, you really tell yourself that?
I go, come on, man. I was like,
I thought it was D.
I was talking to myself, not the after show, but later D.
All right, my bad.
So I go, come on, Daniel. I go, you're gonna not give this guy a shot, like just because, you don't like his face, right? Just because you, just
he's got a big schnozzle.
Just because Rich likes him, you're not gonna watch him. You're not gonna give him a chance. He said Cucuy will actually enjoy Big J's special. 100% his comedy.
All right, I'll check it out.
Just from listening to the show, I know Cucuy don't really watch comedy, but watch.
No, I love comedy. I love comedy.
So he said, watch that one, Cucuy. It's free on YouTube.
Okay.
So
I love comedy. I do. So watched a lot of comedy in my day.
So this dude I go, come on. Rich likes this guy. I've seen some of his clips on TikTok. Yeah, he's a little corny. I don't dig. Be the bigger man, right? Watch this dude special. Give him a chance. There's a guy by the name of Matt Rife.
All right.
Rife or Raff or some shit. Rife. We'll say Rife.
Riff Raff, bro. That was better than Heathcliff.
Well, so this dude, I start the special, and then the first 7 minutes, I'm like, dog, this dude did his shit backwards. What people will typically do, Andrew Schultz, comedian, release his special, boom,
right?
The world's seen the special. Now, cut that special up into clips and put it on social media. This guy, Matt Rife, did the opposite. His first 7 minutes were all clips that I had already seen on TikTok. And I was like, how the f*** I understand how comedians work. They work out material.
Maybe he warmed you up warmed your ass up.
Okay, you would think that. So I watched the special, dog. It was not good at all. It was garbage, dog. It was garbage. I didn't like it at all. And that was me being optimistic, saying, you know what? Let's give this dude a chance. I don't know. This could be the funniest ever, but just because you think he's kind of corny and Rich likes him or whatever, you're not going to give him a chance. I was like, dig it. You might dig it. You might like it. He might be your favorite new comedian. You don't know. So why not? If you think, you tell yourself you're a fan of comedy, right? You say that you're you enjoy the art, you enjoy the whatever. You say you'll watch anybody do comedy because funny's funny. You say that. Well, then. So I go, you know what? You make a lot of good points.
A lot of good points.
So, Doug, this is why I can't do edibles. This isn't me normal. So I go, you make a lot of good points. And I go, I know I do. I'm and then I thought you were Daniel. Now you're changing your story. So I'm going back and forth with myself. Watch it, dog, and it's complete garbage.
Sounds like you need an edible.
So
it sounds like to me.
So it was, Doug, that special was garbage, Doug. It was garbage. Yeah. So anyway.
Garbage.
Okay. Oh.
Okay.
Doug,
yes.
I'm sorry, Doug. So you remember, okay, so people that don't know this, before El Cucuy and I started recording last week, I was already sitting here and I go, well, minutes till this on. I go, what videos get views and shit? I'm like, bait, right? So I go, I'm gonna make a little video about the Mandela effect of about a complete lie, right? So I'm just gonna be like, hey, Topanga was never on Boy Meets World, whatever. Made a little video, put it on TikTok.
Yeah, what's the views at?
Doug, it's over 9,000 views right now. And
really,
we usually get there's a few videos we've had that'll get 55,000 views, 22,000 views, 12,000 views. But for the most part, it's 300 views, 600 views. That stupid ass video, just because I know people are stupid.
Yeah.
Because people, dog, automatically.
But that's pulling Rich Davis.
In the fucking comments, people were like, oh no, she only did 2 episodes as Jennifer P. And I was like, not buying it, you know? And then,
What is dick?
and then some dude was like,
That's what Rich does to us on the show.
yeah, but see, I'm not doing it on this show, on our show. I'm just doing it to fucking.
But see how it compromised how I feel about him on that show?
Yeah, I don't give a. I'm like, because look at, we're right there on TikTok. Now I'm like, you know, so we got off of that. People are, people followed the account. People watched other videos. People got, so I'm like, grow our other videos, and I don't give a clickbait here and there, you know.
That's why Rich is bullshitting.
And so it could be
same reason.
Because you know what, I was looking at old clips the other day, and they were saying when Spot. Oh, you know what?
What?
You I forgot, dog. You have the I have the audio going right now. How do I do this?
I don't know.
Oh, so behind. Let me see. Do you remember when Spot said this? Watch, where is he at? You remember when Spot said this?
I quit.
I do. Yes, I do.
When that happened, Covino and Rich were talking about. They go, you know what? They go, we could pay somebody like to do what Spot does for $60,000 a year,
for sure.
And I was like, you know,
right?
But
I'll take 40.
I'll take 40 and a free subscription, right?
Yes,
I quit.
Lifelong Patreon. Give me 50. I'll be your social media guy.
Oh, fuck. Look at it.
I'm gonna let it slide. I saw some asshole post something stupid. I'm gonna let it slide.
That's great.
Oh, fuck.
Let it slide.
Doug.
I'm wondering if this bitch is gonna complain.
I wonder that same shit, Covino.
Oh, fuck. Look at it.
They think they're a winner and that they're special from day one.
Oh,
You know what? And they do in those shit.
Let's see.
Something I want to get off my chest.
I bet.
actually
And off
have
your scrotum.
started experimenting with men.
Oh, what happened?
Something I want to get off my chest. I actually have started experimenting with men.
So anyway, I was going through these old videos and shit, and
He's acting up.
that's when they were saying, you know, they pay Archie $60,000 or whatever a year, and yeah. But anyway, I was like, oh, for real? I was like, their Patreon.
Sign me up.
I was like, their Patreon must be bringing in. They must have, because one time Covino sent me a little audio message, and he was like, don't let the live numbers throw you off. He's like, we have, and I'm like, I know, dog.
I bet.
I was like, I'm not calling you out, dog. I'm you know, like,
Yeah, no, they're probably making scratch.
yeah. So I mean, but anyway, yeah. So, but anyway, I forgot where I was even and shit.
Well, what I was going to also say, I'm going to add into that Rich convo with his sleep. I forgot that he waited till he's 3 to have a kid. Meanwhile, I have my kid at 19. So I get where he's at. When you got little ones running around the house like that, of course you take those 4 or 5 hours after they go to bed to chill out to yourself. You have to. That's how you maintain your sanity. But when you're 44 with a 2-year-old, or how old's Ben? 3-year-old, 4-year-old?
Yeah.
He's little, right?
Yeah.
Rich is damn near going to be 50 before that.
Yeah.
So that's your fault, bro. You waited too long. So that's part of your deal. And that's part of why you stay up late. What time you stay up late, 2D, or what? When your kid goes to bed?
I try to go to bed early.
What's early?
I try to go to bed before 11.
What time's your kid go to bed?
She's supposed to be in bed at 8:30.
Uh-huh.
But
There you go.
yeah, but she
Parents need 2 to 3 hours after their child goes to bed to decompress and kind of get out of parent mode, get into who the individual you are, whether that's drinking wine or snacks and watching movies or whatever it is that you do with your significant other. When you're a parent, you need 3 hours or 2 hours after the kid goes to bed to kind of be yourself again and decompress and kind of let everything go. That's different. But bro, I live alone. My kid been out the house for years.
Chapo don't count or what?
Chapo, yeah, he's not. No, I don't.
He's
need to
occupied
decompress.
blowing himself.
Yeah, I'm gonna decompress from Chapo. I'm not worried about Chapo.
He can entertain himself.
Yes, he can.
Oh, you know what, Doug? I
What?
fucking let me see.
Whose sex challenge failed? Was that Spot or Rich?
Spot. So Luis said, Doug, I went to bed at 8:30 last night.
Me too.
And my girl and my little one were up running around. He goes, most people go to bed before 11. Well, I wanted to give a shout out, Doug. There's a comedian named Darren Davis that I got to see when he came.
Double D?
When he came.
Is that DD's? When I go to DD's, is it Darren Davis?
It's Darren Davis. He's this black dude. He's funny as
a little more ghetto than Marshall.
So I saw this dude. I actually took a picture with him. I have a picture with him.
All right.
And this is funny as, and he doesn't have a big following, but I could see this dude having like a Netflix special and shit in the future because he's, and I followed him on, I think Instagram, and he started following our page back. And I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, that was nice of him because he's not following everybody that follows him.
Right.
But I was like, that was cool. You know,
shout out to that dude then.
So I was like, that's cool. But not only that, he's been watching all of our Instagram stories and shit.
That's cool.
So I was like,
Doug, oh, you're pulling a Spot and you're checking that shit out or what?
Yeah, Doug, I'm seeing who's watching that shit. So, so yeah, he's watching the Instagram stories and shit.
So if anyone listening, that's D doing that shit, not me.
No, that's super cool though that I saw that and I go, oh, and you know what, Doug? You know, if you ever wanted to get, I could probably get somebody on the show that you wouldn't give a but you might because he's in the music industry. He's a producer. He produces tracks. But I know Mike Durbin would like to get him because he's actually X-Pac from WWF, his son. His name's
bring him.
Let me see. Hold on. I have his contact in my phone. Let me see. Jesse Waltman is his name.
Bring him on.
So we might have Jesse Waltman on here and talk some shop with them, some and shit. I know that there's shit that you told me about recently. You know, could have bullshit with them.
Yeah, bring him on.
And I've listened to some of his tracks. He's got some pretty dope tracks, dog. So X-Pac's son, he's like 27 or 28, or he might be my age. I don't know. But yeah, no, the dude, we might get him on the show. We'll see. But
that'll be great. That'll be interesting.
But yeah, so shout out to Darren Davis. One of the new people that started following us on YouTube, her name's Rosemarie. So shout out to her. Subbed our channel.
You got 2 first names. Shout out to that girl.
Yeah. And then, Brett Maxwell, he gave some good positive thoughts or shout out to the behind the music. So did Tony Moriello and Tyler LeBlanc. At first they were praising
in
Spot.
relation to Matt or what?
They go, Spot needs a raise for this video. You know, Spot, what a great video. Spot, this is the best thing you've done in years. Spot, you have such a big dick. Spot. And I was like, oh no, that's me, guys, you know. But for real though, they were like complimenting Spot. And that's why Spot, when he got on the air, he was like, I didn't do that video. And yeah, I'll tell you something later that a little birdie told me.
Later.
But yeah, Doug. Oh, I have a quick question because we got to go soon,
yes.
Doug. I got some shit.
Yes,
but
we do. I'm hungry as fuck.
Quick question. I don't know if Covino and Rich brought this up or anybody did, but I thought about this earlier. How many people, but it's a 2-part question.
Okay.
And we won't know the answer, but it's something to think about. How many people do you think have died in a car accident, right? Or maybe Luis goes, it's tight listening with you guys live. You hear that, people? People enjoy listening live because they get to bullshit and kind of we get to get their topics and shit on here too. So,
hell yeah.
So how many people do you think have died either driving or walking from looking at a booty? You know, you're driving, dog, and you see an ass and you're like, oh.
dump truck.
Right. Yeah, right. So how many people do you think that's actually happened to? And part 2 of the question, because sometimes you're driving, right? And you're like, oh, booty, you know? And then they turn around and you're like, oh, you know? And you get kind of caught off guard because they, you know.
That was a butter booty?
It was a butter booty, or it was a weird angle. The booty wasn't even bad, right? They were
50 footer.
They were old face hot, or what is it? Old face hot butt, OFHB. It was dog. It was. Luis goes, I've had about 67 close calls.
I bet, me too.
Well, think about it, dog. How many of those?
That's the universe's way of telling you to quit looking at cheeks.
Think about it, dog. How many people, I mean, if I died because I was looking at a bad old booty, right? Oh, then it was my time. But could you imagine? Could you imagine dying by looking at a booty that you were like, oh, around, and you're like, oh, that's not who I was expecting. Ah! And you. That would. So how many people do you think have died from looking at a dope ass booty? Boom. Or how many people do you think have died by looking at what they thought was a dope ass booty, turned out to be OFHB or something, or just nasty ass, you know, yeah, you know?
I prefer OGKB, but I don't know a lot. I'm sure that I don't know how you get a stat for that, because I don't think that in the Department of Transportation report they're going to reflect that number. They're going to say you were on your phone or you're doing something.
Luis,
yeah, you know.
Luis said if death was instant, then I'd take it.
Yeah, fuck it.
You know, because I'm just wondering, Doug, like, you know, Jesus has a number, you know. If we could call up our homie Jesus and be like, Jesus, can you tell us how many people have died? Because, Doug, there has to be a number, you know. If there is an afterlife and I
got like 4 Chewies in my phone. Which one do we call, bro?
You know what I'm saying? Like, I want a number when I die. I want to be like, Jesus, listen, I try to live my life as a good man. You know, I try to eat less than 10 edible milligrams.
We eat no ass.
You know, I ate salad from here to Oaxaca.
From the taint to the belly button.
try to do everything right. You know, I made a few mistakes, you know, but can you tell me? I went all the way to the nipple.
But
can you tell me how many people? I want to know. There has to be a number out there somewhere, Doug. I don't know.
I'm sure there is.
But anyway, Doug, I'll let you wrap it up with whatever you want to, and then we can get going.
After show, but later. Trojan is my choice. You guys have a good night.
Hell yeah. We'll see you guys in episode number 177. Hit us up, 928-235-5285. Be sure to tell your friends about it. Tell your friends to hit the Patreon.
Tell your lady. And her friends. And maybe they can tell some friends, and we can all be friends.
Luis said, you know fucking Chewy knows the number, right? Because you're saying to hit up Chewy. He goes, probably makes them sit in purgatory for a few years. So
I bet they do.
They get the number, and then they have to sit in purgatory for a few years. So after show, but later, we will see you guys in episode number 177. Thanks for hanging. If you kicked it live, we will see you guys later.
On the road to the riches, cause it's all about the paper. Now buckle up your seats and prepare for the journey. Let the music ease your soul, grab a spliff and start burning. Relax with us and take a trip to the heavens. And come and spend a day in the 757.